So guys, welcome to the simulation inside the simulation. I am Tooodamngolden, your VR Voyager, and today is a great day for VR, guys, as the Meta Quest 3 has officially launched, and we also have a couple of firsts here on the channel. First and foremost, guys, this is the very first headset review that we will be doing on the channel, and it's also the first time that I've actually been able to get my hands on a headset at launch, as it is October 10th as of the recording of this video. So I'm gonna get this bad boy here set up, play around with it for about the next 2-3 days, come back at you guys in a few days, and give you my full comprehensive Meta Quest 3 headset review. So, full disclosure, I absolutely hate unboxing videos, but I do realize that there may be some of you out there that are interested in what comes in the box itself. So on screen, you will see a very sped up unboxing, revealing the end result of 2 controllers with batteries, a Type-C charging cable with wall port, and of course, the headset itself. Now, in terms of design, guys, I do have to say that I am digging this headset, as it does represent a more sleek, more futuristic looking headset than its actual predecessor. Truth be told, I am still torn on the choice to include the charging port on the side of the headset strap. However, better choices like the implementation of a scrolling wheel for IPD control, as well as the amazing decision to put the damn cameras on the front of the Meta Quest 3, more than make up for this from a design perspective. As do the charging contacts located at the bottom of the headset, which of course allows for another method of charging for gamers, with the aid of course of the somewhat pricey charging dock. But overall, I must say Meta did a pretty stellar job design-wise with this one. But much more important than looks is, of course, what is under the hood. And fortunately for us, we do know what we're getting with this headset, as the full specs have been released, as the Quest 3 features 2 different storage options at 128 and 512 gigabytes respectively, both powered by the brand new Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chipset by Qualcomm, which according to Meta will allow for double the graphics processing power of the Quest 2. And the Quest 3 has upgraded 2 pancake lenses nestled in Meta's 4K Plus Infinite display, with each lens being an LCD capable of projecting 2064 by 2208 pixels per eye, and an almost 30% improvement resolution-wise than the last gen, while also natively hitting a refresh rate of 90 Hz with the ability to hit 120 Hz in experimental mode. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention the highly anticipated full color pass-through, courtesy of the headset's 2 RGB cameras. So mixed reality is honestly the one Quest 3 feature that least interested me going into this release, but of course I did play around with it a bit, and I found it to be pretty interesting at times, to say the least, as throwing hands with somebody in my garage while playing Thrill of the Fight did give me more of a we must protect this house kind of feel. And I'm not gonna lie that I did spend a lot more time inside First Encounters than I expected, trying to stop the stupid little bubble aliens from getting into my house, and 11 table tenants kind of did slap in the garage with the full color pass-through for about 10 minutes, that is. But to me, ultimately, it does feel simply a tad gimmicky at the moment, and until I see a bit more utility and practicality for it, mixed reality will kind of take a backseat for me, although I will definitely keep an eye out for any updates that may ultimately sway my indifference. Now, let me preface this section, guys, by saying that I am by no means a graphics whore. I wholeheartedly believe that a game with average to decent graphics, but amazing storyline and fantastic gameplay is infinitely better than a visual masterpiece that may be lacking in one of these areas, right? And I wholeheartedly, truly believe that. And with that stated, I have to say that the Quest 3 provides a nice, noticeable difference in terms of not only resolution quality, but the increased field of view is a very nice within the headset, and it's kind of one of those things that can only truly be appreciated with the headset on itself. But make no mistake of it, the visuals in the Quest 3 are much sharper than its predecessor, especially within titles that have been properly optimized for the Quest 3, like Into the Radius, Pistol Whip, and of course Guardian's Frontline, where the visuals are significantly sharper with the Quest 3, with of course particular regards to the draw distance and the elimination of fog effects to hide muddier textures. And even with non-optimized titles, again, that extra field of view does add an extra layer of immersion to your experience, although there is a definite dearth of games currently optimized for the Quest 3, a topic of which we will touch on here in just a bit. Guys, there is no competition in terms of visual quality between the Quest 2 and Quest 3, as the dual LCD screens, pancake lenses, and overall increased resolution represents a significant leap forward in terms of visuals, and when coupled with a Gen 2 Snapdragon processor, the Quest 3 is a massive upgrade, particularly for the standalone headset market. Now, unfortunately at the moment there aren't any major exclusive launch titles for the Quest 3, which in my opinion is to be expected as the vast majority of VR gamers are attached to a Quest 2 unit, and sure, there are a handful of games that have been given that Quest 3 optimization. Of course, treatments such as Red Matter 2 come to mind, and of course my favorite game of pleasure, Dungeons of Eternity. And yes, these are both very solid titles that provide a great deal of both gameplay and replayability. However, it is a bit curious that we are waiting that 1 to 2 months for new titles like Assassin's Creed Nexus, Vampire the Masquerade, and of course Asgard's Wrath 2. And I honestly kind of chalk this up to Meta feeling a bit of pressure from the impending release of Apple's Vision Pro, and I'm feeling like they really needed to get this headset out there so they can continue to eat into the VR marketplace, as I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, it's a higher end price headset with the Vision Pro, so they're not really competing, but I think Meta knows exactly the track record that Apple has of kind of releasing overpriced products and still gaining a huge foothold in a particular marketplace, and I think that this was really their attempt to go ahead and get ahead of that. Now, of course, more titles will be optimized for the Quest 3 in the near future, and titles that have been optimized do represent a large increase in terms of visual performance and quality, of course. However, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my disappointment with the Quest 3's overall release in this regard.
Alright guys, so we're taking our first look here at the full color pass-through, and I have to say that I'm actually pretty damn impressed. As you know, the big complaint that I've seen from a few people online is that it's not like, oh, 4K quality, full color pass-through, but guys, you're getting this for between $500 to $650 essentially, and the output quality is one of those rare cases, once again, where it does look a lot better for you guys than it does for me in headset, but it's actually pretty bright and it's very light dependent. I'll show you what I mean here as I kind of take the little tour into the house here. If I open up this door right here, now it's a little bit darker here, so on my end it's not picking up as well, although it's moderately bright. But as we walk through the hallway here, if we get some lights going and we get some things going, the actual quality of the visuals do pick up. So I gotta say I am pretty impressed with the full color pass-through. It's definitely a massive upgrade from the last Quest 2's offering with the black and white. One feature that I did want to talk about that I actually did not like with regards to the Quest 2 is the hand tracking, and I have to say I am actually pretty impressed with the fluidity of motion with the hand tracking here of the Quest 3, especially when compared to the Quest 2, of which I just personally found to be a little bit laggy, guys. It was kind of laggy for me in my personal experience. But transitioning here over to the Quest 3, I gotta say I like the fluidity of motion once again, getting in and out of it. I've been playing around with it. I could actually pinch my fingers together. I've been playing in and out of it now for about the last 2 or 3 days, and I say about 80% of the time, 85% of the time, it does exactly what I want, whether it's opening apps, whether it's moving them on the actual home UI right here. So overall, I will say I am pretty impressed. Nice job by Meta. It works up into about the crown of the head, and definitely got to give this a solid positive for the Quest 3 here.
Now, as you can see on screen, I've broken down the pros and cons of the Meta Quest 3, and one pro that I haven't yet mentioned in this video is the quality of the sound provided by the stock in-headset speakers, as the Quest 3 does represent a large upgrade in this department over the Quest 2 and was one of my favorite features of the headset itself, as was the improved graphics for optimized titles, the new power provided courtesy of the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 processor, the addition of pancake lenses, full color pass-through, and the dramatically improved hand tracking. As all of these things combine to make the Quest 3 a very high quality, very powerful standalone headset. But of course, on the other side of things, I do have to criticize a few things that stuck out to me, such as the absolutely garbage stock head strap, guys. This thing is absolutely trash and should be upgraded immediately. As much like the Quest 2, the weight distribution is god awful with this thing and will leave you sore after maybe 45 minutes to an hour for me of playing with this. And also, I will say that as a person who uses glasses, those of us with larger frames may experience some additional discomfort, particularly around the nose area. So those of you who are interested in a Quest 3 should definitely keep that in mind. But for me, the biggest con surrounding the Quest 3 at the moment has got to be the lack of games, as for those of us who may have already gone through our entire game library, we will undoubtedly probably be looking for something to play, at least in the interim, until we can get some more games, more steady stream of games flowing in over the next month or two. I will be keeping you guys updated on any and all new releases that we get coming up, so be even more awesome than you already are, guys, and smash that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest VR happenings coming our way. So I guess that just leaves my final thoughts, and guys, the Quest 3 is a very powerful, highly upgraded standalone headset, and it definitely represents the best current offering in the standalone marketplace. And one thing that I didn't touch on was the seamless connection that I experienced while using both virtual desktop as well as AirLink, so all of you PC VR players may have just found your next massive upgrade from the Quest 2. And outside of the lack of games currently at the moment, I do feel that this particular headset at this particular price point is a huge win for the consumer. So for those of you who are on the fence about whether you should pull the trigger on purchasing one, I definitely recommend you do so, as the lenses alone are worth it. And I recommend doing so sooner than later, guys, as every one of these that are purchased until January 27th of next year will net you a free copy, of course, of Asgard's Wrath 2. So that's all I got for you folks today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I am Tooodamngolden, your VR Voyager, and thanks for joining me in the simulation inside the simulation.